For centuries, Earth had watched the galaxy's conflicts from the sidelines. While wars raged between powerful alien empires, Earth remained silent, choosing peace over conflict. No one expected humanity to get involved. They believed Earth was just another small planet, insignificant in the vastness of space. But everything changed when the Zygoth Empire, a fierce and arrogant alien force, made a fatal mistake. The Zygoths had been expanding their empire, conquering one planet after another. They saw Earth as a weak and quiet world, easy to control. One day, they sent a message to Earth's leaders, demanding they surrender and join their empire. The message was full of threats and insults. They didn't even wait for a response. But they had no idea what they were dealing with. Earth had never shown its true strength. Underneath the peaceful surface, humanity had been quietly advancing, building technology that far surpassed anything the Zygoths could imagine. They had kept their power hidden, waiting for the right moment when the Zygoths made their demand. They had unknowingly triggered a force that had been dormant for generations. The message was received, but instead of fear, there was a quiet determination. Earth would not be intimidated. The leaders of Earth didn't respond with words, they responded with action. They began preparations, not to submit, but to fight back. As the alien fleet moved closer to Earth, they were confident. They believed Earth would cower, just as they had seen other planets do. But they were wrong. The moment they threatened Earth, they had unknowingly awoken a sleeping giant. And Earth was ready to show them just how wrong they were. The Zygoths had no idea what they had set in motion. As their fleet drew closer to Earth's orbit, they expected humanity to fall into panic, to beg for mercy, or perhaps surrender quietly. But on Earth, everything remained eerily calm. The skies didn't darken with alarms, and the people went about their daily lives. However, in secret, Earth's leaders were making crucial decisions. Behind closed doors, the brightest minds from every corner of the globe came together. They had long known that Earth's peace would one day be tested. For years, humanity had quietly advanced, developing technologies that could rival the greatest civilizations in the galaxy. Now, with the Zygoth Empire at their doorstep, it was time to reveal their hand. In hidden military bases, a fleet of ships, far more advanced than anything the Zygoths could imagine, began to power up. These ships were not the weapons of a desperate planet, but of a prepared wonderworld that had been watching, waiting. The silence was part of the plan. Earth wasn't reacting in panic, but with cold precision. The Zygoths, confident in their strength, believed that the silence meant submission. They had no idea that Earth had already begun to take action. Human forces quietly assembled, hidden from view. And the world's defense systems powered up with eerie silence. The universe was watching, unsure of what would happen next. The calm of Earth only added to the tension. Every moment that passed, the Zygoths grew more confident. Little did they know, the longer they waited, the closer they came to the wrong enemy. The silence was not weakness, it was strategy. Earth was ready, and soon. The Zygoths would understand just how wrong they had been. The Zygoth fleet hovered just outside Earth's atmosphere, their massive ships looming like dark shadows in the sky. They had made it clear, surrender or face destruction. They had prepared for an easy victory. After all, Earth had been quiet for so long. Surely, they thought, the humans would submit to their demands. But what the Zygoths didn't know was that Earth's quiet was not fear, it was preparation. As the alien ships descended, the first sign of humanity's strength emerged. A single ship, sleek and powerful, rose from the surface of Earth. It wasn't just any ship, it was a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Built in secret for decades, it was humanity's greatest achievement, a warship capable of taking on entire fleets. The Zygoths didn't even see it coming. As their fleet positioned itself above Earth, they fired a warning shot, expecting the human forces to crumble. But the moment they did, the Earth warship moved with breathtaking speed. In a flash, it struck. The alien ships never stood a chance. Earth's warship unleashed a barrage of energy so powerful it sent shockwaves through the Zygoth fleet. The Zygoths tried to retaliate, but they were unprepared for the sheer force of the human ship. With each blast, they were knocked back, their shields failing one by one. Panic spread through the Zygoth ranks. They had never faced a foe like this. Humanity was not the weak, passive race they had expected, as the first Zygoth ship exploded in a burst of light. The remaining fleet scrambled to regroup, but Earth's warship was relentless, and the message was clear. Earth had not been waiting to be conquered. It had been waiting for the right moment to strike, and now, that moment had arrived. The Zygoth fleet, now in chaos, scrambled to retaliate. Their ships were large and imposing, built for strength, not speed. They thought they could overwhelm Earth's defenses with sheer numbers. But what they hadn't counted on was the precision and power of humanity's hidden weapon. Earth's warship moved with the grace of a predator, striking fast and then vanishing into the shadows of space, reappearing only to strike again. The battle raged on, a violent dance of destruction. Zygoth ships fired everything they had, but Earth's ship seemed to anticipate every move. Its advanced cloaking technology made it almost invisible, allowing it to strike from angles the Zygoths never saw coming. Each shot that hit the enemy fleet was devastating, sending entire ships into a fiery spiral of debris. Desperation grew among the Zygoth commanders. They had expected Earth to fall before them, but instead, they were being torn apart. Their best efforts to regroup only led to more chaos. One by one, Zygoth ships fell. The warship of Earth, with its relentless firepower and unmatched speed, was dismantling their fleet, piece by piece. And then, just as the Zygoths began to understand the gravity of their mistake, something worse happened. Earth's warship activated a new weapon pulse that disabled the Zygoth fleet's communication systems. The once coordinated enemy forces were now in complete disarray. Without the ability to communicate, the Zygoths had no way of coordinating their attacks. They were lost in the vastness of space, vulnerable and broken. The battle was turning in Earth's favor, and the Zygoths were realizing that their arrogance had led them to underestimate the most dangerous force in the galaxy: humanity. Earth had not just fought back, it had become the hunter. As the Zygoth fleet faltered, their commanders faced a harsh reality. They were losing. Desperation sank in, and the once proud invaders now scrambled for survival. The remaining Zygoth ships, severely damaged and scattered, tried to regroup. Their weapons, once formidable, now seemed weak against the might of Earth's warship. But the Zygoth Empire was not a force to be taken lightly. They had one last card to play. A final, desperate signal was sent from the Zygoth flagship, a massive warship still barely holding together. The message wasn't an order to fight, it was a plea. They begged for peace, offering a ceasefire and promising that Earth would be spared, but at a price. The Zygoths offered Earth an alliance, a partnership of mutual benefits if only humanity would stop the onslaught. But Earth's leaders were done with negotiations. There had been too many years of waiting, too many centuries of silence. The time for talks was over. They understood now that the Zygoths saw Earth as weak, as a passive species to be manipulated. The betrayal wasn't just in their attack, it was in their belief that Earth would never fight back. Humanity's response was swift and unforgiving. The Zygoths had made the mistake of thinking Earth could be controlled. They were wrong. The message was clear: would not just defend itself, it would stand its ground and ensure that no one would ever dare to threaten it again. As Earth's warship moved in for the final blow, the Zygoth flagship limped away, retreating back into the dark reaches of space. The message had been sent. Humanity was no longer a silent observer. The galaxy would now remember that Earth had a voice, and that voice would not be silenced again. The Zygoth retreat marked a new chapter in the story of Earth. The enemy fleet, broken and scattered, fled back into the dark corners of the galaxy. But the damage had been done not just to the Zygoth Empire, but to the entire galaxy's perception of Earth. For centuries, humanity had been a quiet, unnoticed species. No longer as the dust settled, Earth's leaders held a global meeting, not out of fear, but of pride. The victory over the Zygoths had been decisive, but more importantly, it had marked humanity's entry onto the galactic stage as a force to be reckoned with. The world, united like never before, realized that their silence had been a strength, but now their voice would be heard. The warship that had carried humanity's victory was just the beginning of what Earth could achieve. The other alien empires, who had watched the battle from afar, now looked at Earth with new eyes. The Zygoths may have been the first to challenge humanity, but they would not be the last. Earth had proven that it could stand alone, but it was clear that the galaxy would soon have to make space for Earth's place among the stars. With the victory came a new understanding. Humanity no longer needed to fear the galaxy would shape its own destiny. No longer the passive observer, Earth now held the power to protect itself and assert its will. The silent planet had awakened, and the universe would never see it the same way again. As the Earth prepared for the future, it knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with dangers and opportunities alike. But Earth, once neutral, was now a sovereign power, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing that humanity would never back down again.